Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello, and we are back streaming the show, Miguel and Holly Uncensored, on the Miguel and Holly and the Hits 96.1 Facebook page, and then also on the Miguel and Holly YouTube channel, if you're listening. And also, if you're watching this, you can always listen to the podcast wherever you listen. Just type in Miguel and Holly Uncensored, where you can also find other podcasts from us, like Miguel and Holly's Full Show, Miguel and Holly's Blown Off, The Check-In, a Queen City Confession. So we sort of separated out a bunch of the stuff that we do daily or weekly that you can listen to on demand anytime you want to. Make sure to leave us a 5-star rating, please, if you would. And we were not here on Monday. My fault. I was severely hungover, and I thought I was going to die.
Dear Lord. Oh,
yeah.
You thought you were going to die. Oh, man, that's the worst sort.
It was just a lot. It was just a lot.
Was it worth it?
Yeah. I think I'm getting to this point in my life that so this only happens that I'm this like wrecked when I'm with my college friends. And we actually, a few of us were talking about how, like, all right, maybe it's time for us to like pull back, because we just go so ham because we only see each other a few times a year. And so we're like excited, and we're out and we're at the bar. And also in Atlanta Pride this year where this was the first time they'd held a parade in 3 years because they didn't do it last year. And so there were extra people there. And so just the whole situation was just like crazy. And so like yesterday, Kelbin, you were like, so off the air though, like what happened? Like what were the crazy? And I'm like, I don't know. I need to like sit and like dissect everything.
I don't know. What do you mean you don't know?
Well, it was just like, when you tell a story, like you want to tell it, succinctly, like here's what happened, here's the setup, because there was drama. There's always drama at these sort of things when there's alcohol involved. And so you just want to be like, all right, so from point A to point B to point C, what happened? So I'm not just rambling. So I'm still just trying to dissect everything. But overall, it was a fantastic time. We got to see one of our friends that we haven't seen in probably 5 or 6 years. That's still in our group, but he sort of needed to take some time off. I reconnected with the friend that I thought was mad at me because they didn't come to the wedding, and then they moved to a different state, and I knew none of this. And so I was just kind of like, and they lived in Atlanta now with their partner, so we got to reconnect. So all in all, it was a fantastic weekend. It was just so much booze everywhere you turn around. So I'm
I
just
love it
like,
for you.
Ha! Holly, how are you doing?
I'm good. Certainly not had that. Ooh, that's a lot. Like, I feel for you. This past weekend, I was just so excited to have like a third day to sleep in. So the fact that, that was all fine. But it was good. Like everything was good. And I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot necessarily going on. I have actually a therapy appointment today, and I'm nervous because I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. I think it's going to be about my kid in general, like that whole thing, because man, I don't know how much I can share and how much I can't. I think they're public with it, and I think I already said it on the air, but like, so Maya's dad and his wife are pregnant, and so obviously she's very excited. I would like some tools on how to help with that. Like, I don't know what to expect, really. I don't think anybody does. So I just want to work through that in therapy today. And I'm like, my daughter's also off of school tomorrow, Friday, and Monday. And I'm like, I did not plan anything. Like, I'm sort of panicked because I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, that means I don't get any downtime for the next 5 days. Like, it's just go, go, go. And I just don't know. I'm a little bit stressed out about that. I'm very preoccupied thinking about that, actually, is what probably is happening.
Do you journal?
No, but I need to.
I feel like
all these things better. I don't do, I need to do. I don't like my boyfriend keeps being like, why don't you do yoga with me? And I'm like, I know. Like, of all the people in the world that would like yoga, I would. I do. And I don't do it. Like, do I journal? I have a professional writing minor. I should be journaling, but I don't. I just get like, I don't know what it is. It's like the thought of adding one more thing that I have to do to my day and I just want to relax.
Yeah.
Or the fact that I am like, it has to be perfect and I'm not going to start it unless it's perfect, which is, of course, an issue. So there's
When you have
that.
so much swirling around you, like just to write down your thoughts and organize it's so helpful. And I get it. I'm the same way too. Like I think my life would be 10 times easier if I just wrote shit down, but I just want it to flow perfectly and I just want it to go without any extra effort. So I understand. But like you also got to set your boundaries, Holly. Like you need your alone time, even if you have a kid. And I know easier said than done. I don't have a child. Like I don't even know what your house life is like. You know what I mean? But I think it is really important for you. Like I don't know. I'm getting this from my experience living with my fiance. Like
Mm.
we'll be in the same place, but he'll be in the living room and I'll be in the room, and he'll be like, I'll be like, come on, like watch a movie with me. And he's like, no, like let's have our alone time. And I'm like, bitch.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but I can only assume it can be like that too. But I don't know. I feel like Maya wants to hang out with you 24/7,
Yeah.
probably.
She does. Like, I don't know. And also she's getting to the age where I'm like, how much do I share about her? It's tough because we're getting to this age where it's like she's her own, well, she's always been her own individual human person. But like, I don't know, how much do I share? How much do I not share? And she's so active, y'all. Like, I'm like, I find parenting to be a challenge. Like, I've always found it to be a challenge. And I always thought, oh, it's just me. Like, I didn't know that it was going to be this way. But I saw a TikTok the other day that was like, it might be the fact that you just have a very strong-willed, overactive kid, and give yourself some credit. You're not failing. I feel like I'm failing all the time with this. So it's like, some kids are just a little bit more work, and it's not bad. It just is what it is. And so I'm like kind of grappling with that because of just how she is. And it really is in stark contrast because this past weekend, I didn't have Maya. She was with her dad, but we did have my person's daughter, and they're only a year apart-ish, but they're like 2 grade years apart. So Maya's in 4th grade. She's in 2nd grade, but she's about to be 8. And so she's not that much younger than Maya.
Right.
I think mentally and emotionally, she's a little bit behind her age, but even so, it's just so like when you spend the day, we spent 2 days in a row with her. And I was like, now maybe it's also because it's not my kid and I'm just like a step parent in this situation. But I'm like, this is so much more relaxed. Like what? We are not moving at 2 times the speed. Like we're not moving at breakneck speed, one thing to the next to the next. Like you can't even sometimes have a conversation with my kid because it's like on to the next thing. And I'm just like trying to play catch up. And it's so, and as a person who just likes chill, it's so exhausting.
This is Oscar's niece, which I love, and she loves me, but she is a gifted student, an intelligent student that cannot stick with just one subject, moves on to the next. But why? Do you want to play in my restaurant? What do you want to order? What do you want? And it doesn't ever stop. Like, so
Never stops.
I get it. I get it.
And then sometimes I feel bad because she like is on her iPad, not a lot, but probably more than other kids. Like I don't give her like, there's not a timer on it where it's like after 30 minutes, your iPad shuts off and you're done with screen time. I'm like, no, bitch, go on it if you want to because mama needs a break.
Right.
Because if she's not doing that and she's not absorbed in it.
Right.
It's apparently my job to entertain her. Let's do this, mom. Let's do this. And I'm like, I want to spend time with you, but I'm exhausted. Like we got to do something all the time.
Oh my God,
and so with his daughter, it's like, oh, we're just quietly doing this. And even when we do things together, it's very like relaxed and calm. And what do you want to do next? Well, maybe a craft. And then we actually read the directions and do the craft. And I'm like, who are these kids that are just so laissez-faire? She's just like, just whatever.
Maya has a high intellect and she's got to keep busy. You got to
so
give
smart.
Kid.
Do you
she's
think
so smart?
As I'm sitting here listening and I'm thinking back to like, because I feel like I was like Maya when I was younger, where I always just wanted to be like, I just remember my mom being like, would you just stop talking for 5 minutes? Because, like now my mind is, I was just thinking the other day, I'm like, I feel like a lot of my tiredness that happens, obviously because we wake up so early, but like my mind is on a constant thought train of either my personal life or this job. And so I'm always thinking about stuff, which is why I think I love reading and TV shows so much, because it forces me to go into a different realm and sort of like escape from my own mind. So I wonder if like maybe she's at that age where you need to be like, okay, you've got to learn how to entertain yourself. Like, I'm not going to abandon you at all. Like, I'm still going to be here. I'm in another room, but like, you got, let's start with 30 minutes, like you've got to read a book. You've got to play house. You've got to whatever that looks like at her age. But like,
I know. And I think that's part of the problem. She doesn't like to read, which I know, like heartbroken over here, mama, right? Like she doesn't like to read. It's boring. Doesn't go fast enough. She doesn't like to doesn't really like to play pretend. Not really. Like sometimes we'll do like doctor or whatever, but not often. She doesn't play with dolls, period. She doesn't play with toys, really. And she doesn't like to sit through a movie. What the fuck is there? Lord.
You're like, what do you want? Like, what does she like to do?
I don't even know
You're
if
like,
she knows.
talk to me.
I don't know. Yeah. She likes to go outside. And so she likes to, which is great. But like, that's where her dad and I are very different. Like her dad's a very outdoorsy person. So when he takes her out on the boat or whatever, or they're always doing something exciting. And I'm like, and then his big thing for me was like, I'm not fun. I'm like, they're not fun. So then it sort of reinforces when my kid is that way that I'm like, not fun. So it's weirdly psychological too. But like, so we'll go to the park. Well, what do we want to do when we go to the park? Well, she wants to do all of the things, like, the trail like markers. She wants to do those things, but then she needs help with all of them. And I have to actively engage with the things. And then once we're done with that, then she'll just sit and want to look at the iPad for a while. And everything is fast on the iPad. And then we go home. And then she's like, I don't know. She's like, come do this thing. It's always like we're doing things. And I don't like pretend play. I don't. Right. And so if it is doctor, I'm like, how long do we have to do this?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there are in today's world, like, because there are so many things online that you can find that it's like, ooh, they like this. So there is a kit. There is a something. I just think that like this would be the perfect opportunity for her. And for you to be able to be like, just give me like 20 minutes. Give me 30 minutes.
And I have done that before. Right. I do. And I'm looking at comments. So like Laura Top Life said, can you get her those little science kits or homemade crafts? She is a big, like we do love those type of kit things. And I like crafts. So I'm like, let's do crafts. And she wants to just rush and do them as fast as possible. Like that's her goal. I'm like, there's not a timer. No one's winning a race. It's not a race. Let me read the directions. And she's like, and I'm like, freedom. And then, or we'll do like slime kits and she likes those. She's very like ASMR. So she likes to do the slime or she likes to make cool things. Maybe we'll get out like we have a STEM kit, I think, where you can do projects where we have to like maybe make a volcano or something. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow.
Maybe some CBD drops.
I know, right? I literally was like,
or 7.
Oh, like, do you need to be on? No, is that
that's what I did with my puppy. And they were like natural. 6 months. And I was like, fuck yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I just always think that like there is something and you can find anything online that can like engage you in whatever it is. And obviously she's 9, so she's, doesn't know. She can't be like, well, Mom, I'm interested in politics and law. Like, she doesn't know. She's just like, I'm a kid. I'm just,
I know. Well, I told her, I'm like, listen, you better be a lawyer because you like to argue everything.
Right.
Everything. And she's good at it too. She'll come at you with a thing and you're like, damn it.
Who?
Mommy, that's such a good point, but that's not acceptable right now. So anyway, yeah, I think that I'm going to have to go through online and get a lot of kits.
Things.
Lots of kits. So anyway, that helped. I'm going to go online and look for some kits that we can order overnight on Amazon.
Yep. Well, it is that early Prime Day thing going on right now.
Something's going on.
So go ahead and get it now, girl.
Yeah.
And Zinda said, I have used CBD with my daughter and it helps.
Okay.
So, figure that out.
Sometimes we just need to chill out. Lotion. And I'm like, let's watch a movie. And she's like,
here, girl, I got you.
Right. Also, shout out to Doe Eyes, Laura Top Life, Anne Marie, Brian Sells, Amy Gordon, Let's see here. Janelle Fountain, Natalie. I think I got everybody so far. And
Laura-
there's somebody that we can't see.
Laura Top Life.
Laura Top Life.
The full show is up, by the way. Just wanted to let you know.
By the way, so Kelbin puts up the show every day after the show. And one day last week, Laura Top Life tweeted and was like, "Where's the show?" And I was like, "Girl, ask Kelbin, honey."
We had done like 3 interviews, recorded
did a
some
lot that day.
things. We like so many things. And he still has the fucking audacity to like film me and gaslight me, be like, "Where is it?"
I know we were so busy that day too.
Yes.
I was like, "Where is it, Kelvin? Where is it?"
Listen, I am so happy that Laura Top Life is in my life. I love her tweets. I'm a fan.
Yeah. Good.
What'd you do this weekend, Kelvin?
The only interesting thing I did was go to a drag brunch on a rooftop in Charlotte, up in Uptown. And it was really cool. I think it was like one of the first times where I was like, I'm going to go out and have a good Sunday fun day. And I haven't gone to a drag brunch show. And every time you've invited me, Miguel, it's always been like a weekend where I'm not here. So like my fiance Oscar will go with you guys and have a good time. So this was the first time. I just went with my neighbor, Matt, and we had a really good time. We met some chaotic people that I felt reminded me of my friends back home. And we also met some straight dude who came to hang out with his girlfriend, but apparently his girlfriend had broken up with him. And he repeatedly told us that he was like on the verge of tears, but he was like, "I'm here to have a great time." And then at one point in the day, he was like pop kissing the dude. So I don't know what had happened.
All right, let's dissect this a little bit. And by the way, I think it's Jason Hull. And for some reason on the program we use to see the comments that we stream, we can't see your name for some reason. I know we have in the past, but for some reason we can't
it says
now.
just Facebook user.
Yeah.
Weird.
All right, so let's start with the chaotic people.
Yes.
What made them chaotic and reminded you of Miami?
So I had met them initially in line. They sat down, they invited us to sit with them. And then when they saw that we couldn't fit, because it was like a 4-person thing and it was 6 in total, they didn't even say anything. They just kind of like, we're just like, okay. So we found our own table and we were like, okay, whatever.
You're
We're
like,
we'll just
don't worry about us.
Yeah, it's fine. We did the show, whatever, we had fun. A bunch of drinks happened. The show was like, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So a lot of alcohol was flowing. And then finally, we see one guy who is like a doctorate student. I'm not sure what he was. I think he was doing chiropractor studies. And the other guy was the assistant to the drag show. And then the girl apparently had just gotten broken up with too. So she was on the prowl. And I was like, "Girl, you are not at the right place, but go for it."
Yeah.
And then three of the guys, this is including the doctorate student, the assistant to the drag show, and the straight guy, all hitting on my neighbor. And the doctor student was very much like, "Why don't you like me? I don't understand. Like, you wouldn't date me? Why don't you like me?" And he was just, trying to understand why my neighbor wasn't into him.
Putting it all out there on a Sunday. Woo.
Then the assistant of the drag show guy, he was actually kind of cool and he seemed pretty tamed. He was working, so he wasn't wasted. But he was sharing some stories about him and then the doctor student, and I didn't really understand what was going on between them.
They like hooked up or had some relations?
I think so.
No.
And then, but he was dating another guy, so we were like, don't mess with this. Just stick with the guy you're dating. And then the straight guy was once again on the verge of tears, but he was paying for our drinks, so I wasn't too mad at his company.
Wait, SK, and did I hear you correctly? You said that the straight guy was also hitting on your friend, your neighbor?
Yeah, well, he was the first one. He went up to him and he was like, "Man, you look like a hot Ryan Reynolds."
Oh, come on, hot neighbor.
Isn't that kind of redundant?
Yeah, I didn't. He had a few drinks too, but he came up to him and told him that. And I was like, "Oh." So we saw that he was by himself. And we were like, "Oh, just come join us. Like, let's just be social. Let's make friends." So he told us his life story about the girlfriend breaking up with him. And that was that.
Wow. All right. And you said that the straight guy also You said was pop kissing? What exactly is that?
We were with the drag queens, and I think at one point we were probably talking about sexuality, and he said, he was like, yeah, like, I've done butt stuff. Sorry, it's getting a little X-rated. But yeah, we do some butt stuff, like, with my girls and blah, 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 like in the past. And we were like, oh, okay, cool.
Wait, on
On him. He was like,
Oh.
I've been open to it, blah, blah. And we were like, oh, cool. Like, would you ever get with a guy? And he's like, I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
And we were like, oh, okay, cool. And I think it was probably the doctor student, where he was like, oh, like, would you kiss us? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then the pop kiss montage happened. And I was like, okay. And he was like, what about you? And I was like,
You're like, thanks, but no thanks.
I'm good.
Why do I feel like if you're watching this will make sense. If you're listening, I do apologize, but you're just sitting there. He's going around. He's just like, hey.
No.
Like, what is this, college? Like, Jesus Lord.
Yeah, it was.
Like, what was going on? Like, I've been to probably 4 or 5 drag brunches here in Charlotte, and none of mine have been like this. That's why I'm like, what the hell? The one I don't go to.
Kelvin really got lit.
It was a good time. I would have been scared if there was unlimited mimosas. So it was
True.
pretty tamed for me.
I mean, it's true. I mean, because Anne-Marie commented like he's bi with a preference for women, which it seems like that. So did he state that he was straight, or did he just?
He said he was straight.
I have this theory. It's very difficult for bi straight-leaning men to say they're bi, because I still feel like there's this stigma that it's like, well, you're probably not really bi. You're just fully gay and you just haven't admitted it yet or whatever. And it's like, no, that exists. So it probably is easier for him to say he's straight, even if he's grasped it in his own mind yet. Maybe he hasn't.
Yeah, because I'm thinking in my life, I have not met many guys that are like with women that will say they're bi.
Right.
But the guys that I know that are bi, identify as bi, are usually have been with a guy. And so I think there is something to that, because I think that's why, as we're like hearing a story and it's like, oh, this is entertaining, but this is weird. Like, why?
And we're like, oh, that's so shocking. What?
Right.
But it's actually not.
Right.
It's just that we don't hear about it that often.
Because I mean, the only time that I hear about bi guys that are with women, it'll be like some sort of, adult material where it's, I'm with my wife and we like to do this sometimes with another guy, but it's always in secret. But it's never like, hi, I'm, a lawyer at blah, blah, blah and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm bi.
Right.
You never hear that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, because I feel like the stigma still exists in all of in the straight community, in the LGBTQ community, that like that man is lying.
Right.
Like, stop lying. Like, just drop the woman already and just do it. And I think that's why
people can't grasp the concept that like sexuality is a spectrum. Like, there is a scale, and you could literally like 90% women, 99% women, 1% men. You could like 60 and 40. Like, it doesn't matter. That doesn't erase your bisexuality.
Yeah.
And I think people don't understand that. They don't believe in bisexuality. They think you're either or they think that it has to be 50-50.
Right. And it's like, well, yes, I think it's misunderstood.
Yeah.
Especially for men.
Yes. Well, because I think because we haven't had many people speak on it because I've before have been on other radio shows with a bunch of straight dudes where they're always like, well, have you ever been with a woman? How would you know? Maybe you don't. And I always flip the question back and say, well, have you been with a guy? How do you know that you're possibly not gay? And they're like, oh, okay, well, that's a great point. And I'm like, it's not for you. And so that's why I have also evolved, because we've said this off the air. Like, if you go back to stuff from back in like 2007, 2008 on the radio, I'm pretty sure there is somewhere me being like, gay guy or bi guys don't exist. It's just a one-stop train to Gate Town.
I said the same thing. Like, we echoed each other's sentiments and we would like give each other knowing looks.
Right, be like, I know, girl. He's just looking for it, But that was me at 22, 23, not understanding or being empathetic to people who don't feel comfortable speaking about those feelings. But, since then, we've learned that it is a spectrum and it is possible to, have all those sort of feelings. Because just because I don't feel that way, like I've never looked at a woman and been like, I could do it. That's just not me.
Right.
Right.
But that's not to say that a guy who is married to a woman couldn't also have been with men or be with men in the future with his wife, if that's her thing,
Right.
and be like, this is just who I am.
Or maybe not even want to be with men, but just be like, I mean, if it were to happen, but I'm not going to seek it out.
Right.
I'm not turned off to the idea of it. Like some men are just like, no, just like Miguel is for women. No, I know that's a solid no.
Right.
But like some men are like, I mean, I don't see what the big deal about it. But I mean, like, I'm more into women, but like, I don't know.
I'll
dudes.
kiss a dude. I've kissed a few straight guys.
Right.
I always say this to really anybody that's trying to understand sexuality and the Kinsey scale and all that good stuff. I say there are 7 billion plus people on this earth, and you're telling me that you can only be attracted to women or men or anything else, like
narrow genre, whatever.
Right. Like there are so many people, souls, interactions that you are going to miss out on, and you're going to tell me you could only like really feel connection with one kind of person.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those gays. I'm not one of those gays that are like, oh, maybe he's gay. Like, oh, you never know that. I'm not like that. And that's not even the intention of when I say that. I'm just saying like there is so much possibility in this world to love.
Absolutely.
And if you are open to it, cool. And if you're not, that is cool too. But just know that like for your friends who are in the LGBTQIA, like don't not understand it or don't try to erase it.
Right. And that's the thing is what I've always said is that you don't have to understand it, but at least respect their wishes. And, because I don't like when you say that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense for you. But like, I just in my life, in my 37 years of life, there's never been a woman that I've wanted to, go down that route with. But at the same time, like, that's my story. That's not your story, or someone like.
Right, just because that's how you feel doesn't mean that everybody feels that way.
Right. Because I've talked to my husband, who has been with women before, and we've had in-depth conversations where I'm like, so walk me through. I'm like, so how, girl?
Get it.
Like all the way, or were they just?
All the way, Bob. Hey, but no.
Yeah, okay, listen. If the parents are listening, stop listening. But they know. They know. They don't know obviously the full story. But like, yes, he has been, and he had several girlfriends who I met and where they had gone the whole way. And I'm just like, there are times that I've met a couple of them because they're friends now, and that was in high school. That I'm just like, so girl, like what? Like how?
Like as someone who doesn't get it, you're like, I don't get it.
Right. I just want you to walk me through because I don't get it.
Understand. But that's true. That could be true of anybody who doesn't get like the full spectrum and couldn't do like, go either way, or multiple ways. So it's like when you can't wrap your mind around it, you're like, but wow.
Right. Like
you're like, you can't get it.
I can't. And we've had so many conversations that Abe's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like at the time, like I was into her, she was into me, and we just,
Does Abe identify as bi?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think. Oh, you know what? Actually,
call him right now.
Hold on, though. Wouldn't by definition he sort of be bi, or was it because
no? Because there's a lot of gay guys that had sex with women, and they were like, no, never mind.
And they're like, no, not for me. Yeah. So unless he's like, oh, sure, for sure, not for me.
Unless he's still interested,
right? Women. Unless he's like, I wouldn't say no. Or if he's like, yeah, definitely no, because I tried that, don't like it.
Right. Yeah.
Or if he's like, tried that, it was not bad.
He driving, so we're gonna find out.
Oh, Jesus Lord.
I love this. I love this.
Like, he could be thinking it's literally anything. Like, he could be like, oh, you needed, like, ask me about the toaster, and then boom, this.
What's your sexuality? I've asked I've asked my fiance. I'm like, are you sure?
Can I just leave you on hold?
He's like, no, I'm gay. I was like, okay, I respect it. Cool.
Tell
him the same thing.
Like
7 billion people. There's a chance. And he's like, maybe, but
has he ever been with a woman?
No.
Okay.
No, he's like Miguel.
He's a golden gay
star.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk to Abe here in a second. He's getting gas. He's driving to Buffalo right now. So he needs something to occupy his time. So
Oh.
a little conversation would be great.
Good.
He's gonna be like,
Did you tell him what the
No.
conversation was about? Oh, so he's like, oh yeah, I'll talk to you.
We'll
and
talk
then we're gonna
about
get him
the-
on, and he'll be like,
The air fryer.
Bitch. how you gonna drop this on me? Like he didn't have no time to prepare or nothing.
listen, he's good on the fly. He'll be great. But no, I just
Wait,
what?
just thought about let's call your mom too.
Oh God, no! Why?
Imagine.
No.
Poor thing.
Oh,
Like, nope.
oh my God, no! We can't have my mom live on anything
Of this conversation.
I mean, I wouldn't mind recording it, but we can't have her live on anything because
Right.
there's just sometimes I'm like,
Yeah, you never know. You just never know, and so when in doubt, leave it out.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's so because I remember when I was in middle school, there was a girl I dated, Candace, who we were together for maybe like a week. And she sent me a note throughout the day that was like, "Ooh, Miguel, I want to kiss you after school." And even then, at that moment, because I didn't know conceptually like what does gay mean, I just
Right.
knew that I was just like, no, I don't want to kiss Candace. I don't want any part of that. And so I broke up with her that day. I was like, I don't think it's going to work. I just moved here to Atlanta and I just think I need to find myself. I'm 12, but I need time to figure it out.
Yes.
Come
Come on.
That was a really good diversion.
Right? I was just like, I just listen. All right, let's see if he's available now.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Report, Abe.
Abe,
Yes.
can you talk now?
Yeah, let me just get you off Bluetooth.
Okay, thank you.
Bluetooth, radio turned
He
down.
knows to take
Yes,
him
he
off.
knows.
the speakerphone. Please turn your radio down. Thank you.
Yes, that's a little behind the scenes. Whenever you call a radio station, we'll always go, make sure to take us off of Bluetooth, take us off a speakerphone, and turn your radio down. Abe, can you hear us? Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we are talking about sexuality because Kelbin was at this drag brunch this weekend and met a straight guy who kissed a bunch of the gay guys that were there. And
Mhm.
then at the same time, he mentioned that he enjoyed back of the house stuff with women and that maybe he would consider with a guy. So then we talked about sexuality and, the spectrum and how you have been with women before and how I was just like, I've asked you, we've had this conversation so many times where I'm just like, how'd that work? Like, I don't get it. And you're like, well, it is what it is. Like, what do you mean?
Well, you
Like for
see,
someone
when a
who-
boy likes a girl,
And that's what we're talking about. Like Miguel, since he's not ever been attracted to women, he can't wrap his mind around that. But since you've been with a woman or women, then you're just like, I don't know how to tell you other than it is what it is. And so we were just curious.
so I mean, when I was with women, and this is two, and one was just once, and then the other was I had a girlfriend in high school. I think we started dating my junior year, broke up like, I don't know, 6 months after we graduated high school. I was attracted to them. I enjoyed it in the moment, but then dudes were better.
Okay.
So would you consider yourself gay or bi?
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Miguel
Okay.
did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it.
No.
So it's like
I
you
don't-
tried it
I
out.
definitely-
You're like, this was good, but no, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. It's not a question in my mind anymore. No, hasn't been for well over a decade.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you
That
wouldn't like
makes sense.
you wouldn't like dip back. Obviously, if you weren't married, whatever, you're multiverse, you were single.
No, I would not.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
The
Okay.
last time I slept with a woman, I was maybe 20.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
That is those are formative years when you are just trying to figure yourself out.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've actually seen a bunch of confessions through the years as we've, evolved the segment from where we were now to, Queen City confessions of guys that have written in and been like, I did it back when I was in college and I was younger and I wasn't interested, but then maybe they met one person that now they're like, ooh, it's, 15 years later. And I'm like, I wonder if I should, we've had those types of confessions in secrets before. So, I mean, it definitely is a possibility for some people, but for Abe, you're like, nope, not for me at all.
Check that.
Yeah,
out.
I mean, I want to run back to this guy at the drag brunch though. I don't know how I feel about that situation.
What do you mean?
So he's all up in this drag brunch and he's like, I'm straight, I like girls, but he's making out with dudes and stuff.
Yeah, so we were talking about that, where we're like, maybe he's this is how we got onto this whole thing, because we actually were talking about bisexual men. So this guy might be bisexual and not know it, or not have committed that term or whatever his own preferences, or however he is born. He might not understand that he's the way that he is, or who knows, any other type of situation. But we were talking about how bi men in particular get a bad rap because female predominant bi men, like men that mostly like women, but are kind of like, man, I mean, whatever, dudes. A lot of people, both in the straight and LGBTQ communities, are like, that doesn't exist. That's fake. Like, you're gay. Stop effing around with women.
Well, no, bisexuality definitely exists. Bisexuality definitely exists. Pansexuality definitely exists. I get it. Just, I don't know. Maybe I misread the story, but from the story, it was like he's running around saying he's straight but making out with dudes. And I'm like, well, so are you dating?
Yeah.
Are you just gay dating for attention or drinking?
Right.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to get through the story quickly so we could get to how we brought you into it. But it seemed because it was set up where he had just broken up with his girlfriend, right, Kelbin?
He had gone, I believe, if I remember. He had come to Charlotte because he wanted to, I guess, meet up with his girlfriend. I guess they were long distance, and she had broken up with him, and he was like extremely heartbroken. So I think he was on the train. He saw those three people that we eventually meet, and they invited him to drag brunch, and he was by himself at one point. We seen him staring at me and my neighbor, and he goes up to my neighbor and is like, hey, you're like a hot Ryan Reynolds. And then I don't really remember much, but we were like, come sit with us, let's like get to know you. And that's how we started to hear about
declared that he was straight. So that's what is a little, it's confusing,
right?
Is what it is,
Okay,
both for him
but
and
being
for everybody
there,
else.
Being there with more context, it's like, okay, maybe he's still figuring some stuff out.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe.
Because I've seen that too. I totally forgot about this situation. It was, I think it was a few months before we moved to Tampa back in 2015, Holly. And do you remember there was a guy that I had met at the Splash Bar in Panama City?
And good old Panama City.
He was by all means straight presenting.
Yes.
And very good looking guy, super nice, super friendly. And I'm trying to get the details in my mind as it's coming to me. I'm trying
to think which story you're trying to tell, because there's a lot of.
There was a lot
of boys.
A lot of stories.
That 2-year span in Panama City, I went through a lot. It was like,
I know, that's why I'm like, which story is this?
A lot of
right. Grinder sound. So we went on like these weird, like, are we friends or is it dating? We hung out a lot.
You actually have went on a date with this person?
Yes. But like, but it was never like we're going out. It was like, I don't remember how we met, if it was like from an app or if it was like at the Splash Bar.
Was there a situation where something happened in the car? Like either he leaned in to kiss you in the car?
Yes.
Is that the situation I'm thinking of?
Yeah. So it was like a date or two. And I was just like, this guy is like really good looking. And he's like, quote unquote, straight. Like, I don't know. And I invited him to a Super Bowl party. And so we went to the Super Bowl party, and like whatever team was playing, we were all cheering. And then he kissed me on the cheek. And all of my friends were there. They knew what was going on. So everyone like stopped and they were like, what does this mean? What's happening?
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I don't want to make a big deal about it. So we just kept going on. And so then when we left that party, I think either I was in the car and he was outside of the car or vice versa, but somehow we like kissed.
Yes.
And it was like on the lips and it was like tongue and everything. And that I was like, all right, well, I guess that's it. He gay. We gonna do it. Yeah.
Oh.
And then I never heard from him after that.
Ask me why I remember that story specifically. And I can picture the fucking silver scion that you used to have, by the way.
I'm
What did he
sorry.
look
I'm sorry.
like?
I'm still at. I don't know how it happened. His tongue just fell into my mouth.
He tripped.
One thing led to another.
Well, because I don't remember if like the like exactly like what happened. I just remember thinking to myself like, oh gosh, like I may be dating this guy or something's gonna happen.
I remember because you came in the next day and you were so excited, and then you never fucking heard from that bitch again.
Nope.
That's awful. I wonder where he is now, though.
He's married with kids.
Oh.
I do know that because the reason why this story is like somewhere in the back of my brain is because some of my Panama City friends brought it up when we hung out with them around the wedding time. And we were like, remember that guy? And I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about him in years.
Oh my God. Buddy.
Yep.
But
I'm sure you made a great impression on him.
I'm sure I did. I was very respectful.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure I talked about it on the air at Island 106 at the time.
I'm sure you did. We talked about it.
Oh my
earlier.
God.
But
Yeah.
I didn't talk any names or anything. But
No.
but yeah, I wish I could remember what his name is now. But anyway, I say all that to say that I remember like at that time, because we were all in our like, early to mid 20s. And I think he was just trying to figure it out, because I think there was a stint after we moved where he danced at the gay bar for a little bit, where he was trying, which obviously that doesn't make you gay by any means, but I think that he was just like exploring the world and, just everything with it, just not me.
Yeah.
But,
But ultimately chose no thanks.
right. So everybody goes through that exploration process, but then I ended
Absolutely.
choosing-
Sexuality is just so fascinating because this is all like sparking so many memories for me. Because I'm like, I can think back to like, I don't know, 4th, 5th grade, where I'm like, oh, Billy's cute. But at that time, I was like, oh, everybody has those thoughts, right? But
Right. You thought that was normal for everybody.
Mhm.
then I dated Jenna for like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, Jenna. And where's Jenna now?
Jenna, we're friends on Facebook. I think she's still in Buffalo. She might have kids. I don't remember.
Oh, see, I love, but it's so interesting how we all have these stories that you don't know what's different until you finally start communicating those feelings, or something in the media lets you understand, this is what this means of what you're feeling at the time. So,
Yeah.
Abe, where are you on your drive right now?
I am in Pennsylvania.
All right.
Oh,
Shout out to
wow.
Pennsylvania.
I've got
Like, we're clapping
3
for
hours
Pennsylvania.
left.
Okay.
3 hours left. All right. Well, please be careful, and I will talk to you later. Love you.
All right. Love y'all. Have a good day.
Love you.
Bye.
I mean, love you too. I'm the only person that didn't say it. I felt bad.
Wow, way to go, Holly.
Holly, did you
Sorry.
ever get with a guy and he ended up but he ended up discovering he was gay?
I thought so hard that my one and only high school boyfriend would be gay. I mean, I really, as a matter of fact, while we were dating, my friends were like, your boyfriend's an F word.
No.
Because we said F words back then.
Yeah, yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and nobody meant it nobody was like, oh, I'm saying a slur. They're
Right.
just like, oh, Holly, your boyfriend's an F word. And I'm like, I mean, probably.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
He played Joseph in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Like, he was a singing, dancing ass bitch. Like,
Gotcha.
he was the nicest boy / now man. And everybody really was like, oh, he's gay though. And I'm like, nah, I mean, we make out a lot. I don't know. And then eventually we only like went out together for like 2 months or something.
Gotcha.
But as I really thought, I thought, oh, he probably is gay. He's got a lot of what I assumed were gay tendencies.
Gotcha.
Because, especially back then, you're very black and white thinking. And as far as I know to this day, I don't believe he's gay unless he's not, comfortable or something. But from what I can tell, and he's on my Facebook, but I haven't caught up. I haven't seen him. I haven't heard anything about him in years. I don't think he was gay. I think he had a girlfriend for a long time. I don't know what he's doing now though. But I thought that was going to be the case, and it wasn't. Miguel, help me. Is there anybody that I like hung out with that we think might be gay? Like straight up gay? And I don't.
No.
Because I know
I don't think so.
Some girls I'm sure feel a type of way after they've dated a guy, and then he's gay after them, and they feel some
it turns
sort
out
of
he's
like
gay.
guilt. I have that. the guy before Oscar.
When we thought that he was going to be, I was like, does that mean there's something wrong with me? Like, is there something wrong with me? But no, I think that's hasn't been the case. So how did it feel with you said you felt that way about who?
The guy before Oscar after me, and I cut it off, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna work out. We had different political ideologies. I realized, he realized that he was straight, and I was like,
oh,
I made a gay man straight. He's still. I'm not gonna go there, but yeah, he's now straight.
Solely straight.
Solely straight.
But that's kind of the opposite of age, though, right?
Yeah,
that's what he said. So I always think about that.
How does that make you feel?
I feel sad for him. I feel sad for him because I know that that's not the truth. But also I'm at a place where like I want to respect people and what they choose and feel and want to.
Can we say something about this too? Is like the way that society is, sometimes people feel made to either be one way or the other. And like there is all this, difference of like, or new, thankfully, understanding about bisexuality. But it's like people feel like either they're one way or the other, and they don't know that two things can exist at once.
Yeah.
Or they actively choose to go against who they are for whatever reason. So there's a lot of cloudiness.
He chose religion. It's religion.
Okay, well, that's a
whole
different podcast. Yeah.
I think on that note, I'll just.
All right.
Woo!
I did notice that I think Matthew on YouTube asked like, well, what's Holly's sexuality journey been like? Which makes me feel like I should launch into a dissertation. I don't have a good my journey with sexuality. Well, it all started when I don't. But I also feel like I need to get my thoughts together on it. I don't know that I am prepared to speak on it because I feel like I would do a lot of rambling because I'm not even really sure. Does that make sense? Like, and I feel bad. Like, I also feel bad because I mean, sometimes during Pride months, we would be like, Miguel's gay, Holly's straight, and I'd be like, kind of. I mean, there was that one time, but it's like, but I don't know, but I don't want to like step on anybody's toes, and I also don't want to be like, well, here's what I am, but like, I don't want to offend anybody if that's like. So I start rambling, but I have a feeling I'm not like just straight,
right?
So, but I don't know how to quantify it, and I don't know how to talk about it because I feel like I'm not supposed to be in that space. Like I feel like I'm. Fake or like I don't want it to be like a fraud. I feel fraud like
you're not gay enough.
Yes,
you're just a
like
sprinkle.
I'm like I'm not allowed in that space. Like I'm taking up someone else's space, so I'm just gonna sit over here on the straight sideline and be a super supportive ally and know that my story is probably more complicated, but I don't want to, especially nowadays when people are like, "Oh, you're queer baiting. Harry Styles is queer baiting. So and so is like." Let me not start some form of like confusion. That's not for me. But in my own heart, I'm like, I got to figure this out. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously you have to figure out what that is. But I think that if you come to the conclusion that, yes, I may feel this certain way, like you don't have to be like, well, Miguel is, the biggest gay I've ever met. Gays all over the place, and
Miguel's
oh my god, right? And if I'm not that gay, then I'm not gay. It's like, no, that's not how it works. To me, it's just like, yeah, that's your story. And I think there was a woman at Charlotte Pride that I thought was really cool. She got some award. I don't remember, unfortunately, but she like married, has 2 kids, and I think she like won like an ally award or something. But then in her speech, she was like, well, and I've just come out as bisexual. And people were like, oh,
I teared up.
Yes.
I teared up with that woman's speech.
Yes.
I think her name was also Holly, by the way.
Yes,
I don't
it was.
remember.
It was.
I feel
Yes.
like it was.
I don't remember who it was.
I don't either. But it was such an interesting speech because she was not old by any means, like
Right.
maybe my age, maybe a little older than me. I don't know.
I remember.
But I was like, oh, that's so vulnerable and
Right.
open
Mhm.
because it doesn't necessarily like I feel like also like if I, I'm definitive about something, then some sort of action has to happen. And I'm like, I don't know what that looks like. And I don't really know.
That's just who you are.
Yeah.
I know. So I guess
That's
I just
part of
have
your
to.
story.
I have to figure it out, but I don't really.
On
talk about
Monday's
it.
podcast, Holly
Oh.
talks about her sexuality. We're gonna have a
Holly
deep
will give the dissertation
Yeah.
on Monday.
That'll be a good podcast.
right
I
on
don't know.
Monday's
I
podcast.
listen.
Holly will tell us. I will come prepared with my Oprah Winfrey questions.
In 2 songs, bitch.
Right?
Miguel's
2
gonna
songs.
put his fake glasses on and be like, "Well, let me take notes."
Wait, what would that sound like during the show?
Oh,
Oh my god!
okay. So this is what it would have sounded like 8 years ago. I would have said, "Is Holly a lesbian?" Find out in 2 songs.
It's Miguel and Holly.
Charlotte's Hits 96.1.
Okay.
Not an exaggeration.
No.
We did radio like that for
Jesus.
years.
Right. So now I would be like, after lots of thinking
Right.
and contemplation, Holly has come to some conclusion about the story of her sexuality. She will explain in 2 songs.
It's Miguel and Holly.
Charlotte's Hits 96.1.
Which is always going to be in 2 songs, okay?
God,
Okay, you're gonna have to wade through Doja Cat. Okay.
spank me, choke me. God, I fucking love the transitions or the teases. Actually,
Yeah.
they're my favorites.
Listen, Mama's trying to get people to listen longer, honey. Okay, new show. All right. Holly, what is your social media? People can find out about your sexuality. At some
People can comb through and look for Easter eggs like they're doing them for Taylor Swift. It's Radio Holly.
Producer Kelbin.
At Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans coming soon.
Okay.
Yep.
Mine is Miguel Fuller. You can find me everywhere on social media, and we will see you on Wednesday. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Girl, I'm still drunk. I meant it's Friday. Girl,
Friday.
bye.
It's
It's
Wednesday.
Friday.
It's Wednesday,
Friday.
Friday.
Sorry.